Hello everyone, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and here are 3 important things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week. Now, I guess I should start with a look back at what happened for the month of August. We had the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the Dow, you had gold, all with an ugly showing for the month of August. We had a lot of people thinking maybe this is the start of that gloom that many investors have been fearing going into September, historically a negative month, same with October. So we'll see if we see a transition, although on Friday's session, it was looking pretty good for the Russell, S&P and NASDAQ kind of flat. Anyway, let's dive into what's happening for this upcoming trading week. Now, first and foremost, on Monday, as you know, it is Labor Day, which means we celebrate the American worker and all the hard work they do by what? Giving them a day off. Of course, a lot of people still working on that day, but I hope that you're out enjoying the fruits of your labor for Labor Day. Know that it is going to be a light week. When you have a holiday week, typically there's lower volume because a lot of people like to turn it into a 4-day weekend, maybe even take the whole week off just to have a little bit of fun. So that's the good news, as we have a shortened trading week. Markets will be closed on Monday. Hopefully you take some time off to spend with your friends, family, and enjoy your life. That moves us on to Tuesday. Now, the earnings week is extremely light, but I did want to bring up a couple of important names I think you might want to pay attention to, specifically with regards to AI. Oh yes, the hot topic. Let's dive right in by looking at what's going on with Monday. You've got nothing. And on Tuesday, you've got nothing. And on Wednesday, you do have some retailers, American Eagle Outfitters, you've got Dave & Buster's, GameStop, and there's our AI play. It's C3 AI will be reporting earnings, and while they're not the biggest company out there, they are getting a lot of attention because they started their business as an artificial intelligence company, and that's what people are focusing on right now. So that'll be interesting to see their numbers on Wednesday. And on Thursday, you've got DocuSign and one more for the week, and that would be Kroger's on Friday. That's a very weak 252 companies that will be reporting earnings this week. However, keep your eye on them. They may cause some moves for your specific portfolio or some of the investments that you are holding. Now let's dive into some bigger things. Central banks are back on the plate. No, that's not the U.S. We have until September 20th before we get an FOMC rate announcement, which a lot of people are focusing on, but we'll worry about that one down the road. What we're talking about today is the neighbors to the north and, well, some neighbors in the southern hemisphere. That's right, we got 2 central banks to talk about this week. Let's start things off with the Reserve Bank of Australia. Right now, expectations are they're going to keep rates exactly where they're at 4.1%. That will happen Tuesday, just after the stroke of midnight Eastern Time at 12:30. Then we move to our neighbors to the north, Canada, coming out with their rate statement, and they are also expected to pause, as seems to be a keep up with the Joneses type of environment right now. They are expected to stay at 5%, and that's going to happen Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That will be 30 minutes into the trading day, so be aware of that one, especially if you are trading that Canadian dollar, anything Canadian related. And finally, one last little piece here, which I don't know if necessarily is going to be something just for the upcoming trading week. I think this is something that might play out over the next several months, and that is oil. We've heard a lot of posturing from OPEC and OPEC Plus and all these different rate cuts, and some increasing, some saying let's abandon the dollar as far as trading the oil with. Starting to get a little bit shaky over there with oil, and I think that that's going to have some constraints on supply. If demand continues to increase from China, we could see some pretty significant moves up in crude oil over the coming months. So let's take a peek at what we're talking about here today with regards to oil. First and foremost, it all revolves around OPEC. These are the oil-producing member countries. And you can see Saudi Arabia really leading the charge there with 10.4 million barrels per day coming from Saudi Arabia alone. Now, what I find interesting is OPEC is supposed to be this group that's, bound by the same rules, and we're all together in this. Notice those ones that are gray. Those are exempt from the production agreement. So Saudi Arabia has agreed to some cuts here recently. And Iran said, no, we don't have to abide by that. Neither does Libya or Venezuela. They are actually increasing their production in those, but there are cuts coming from the other ones. Now, considering that Iran is right around 9% of the total daily output of oil, it certainly is significant. However, that's just OPEC. When we look at OPEC Plus, you now throw in a couple of other big members like Russia and Mexico. They are also posturing a bit, saying, hey, we should do more cuts. Let's raise the cost of oil. And let's be honest, if you're an oil-producing country, you want to raise the cost of oil. More money for every barrel that you pull out of the ground. However, global pressures, and certainly the U.S., I'm certain of it, is having an impact and hopefully getting these guys to increase production so supply increases and we see prices drop. However, this might be something that continues to get a bit contentious going forward. We do know that China's demand is expected to increase. A lot of forecasts saying accelerated demand, significantly higher than normal coming from China, which if we have cuts with oil supply and demand increasing, I know all you online trading academy graduates know exactly what I'm talking about. Prices will most likely go up. And over the past week or two, we've seen significant moves up in the price of crude oil. So this story, which is always a story with crude oil, but it seems to be building, becoming a bit more contentious, and the drama that's associated with this could push oil up over the next few weeks. So keep your eye on that one, particularly with Russia as they posture against the United States going forward. So there's a lot of things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week, particularly their day off. So you got 4 trading days. You also have some mild earnings. You got some nice central banks for you Forex traders out there. And then for you commodities guys, keep your eye on crude oil and of course that US dollar as well. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must Knows. We'll see you next week.